This is Do Your Girl Quest Books. It's been a while. I've been doing some life stuff and I haven't really done a lot of short videos on what I've been reading, so I just decided to do a long one because I've read a few books since I've done that, and so I just figured why not just talk about all of them real quick and see what you guys think. So I'm going to start off with The Strength of the Few. I read this one. I mean, you can see when I read it, I did a short on like my list. It's been a while, so not as fresh in my mind as it would have been, but this was a fun read following this and the developments. I really loved the way that each world was presented and like the differences, and like, I mean, I'm a history teacher, so like seeing, like, I know that this is sci-fi fantasy, but like seeing the different cultures and like knowing where they come, like the inspiration for those, like that was awesome. Really enjoyed. I listened and read this one, and so I really enjoyed jumping back and forth and getting like hearing, like getting that experience and just the developments in this and this, like these connections and the conflicts and everything. This was really good. I feel like my experience with this hierarchy story is I always start off really slow in the beginning when I'm reading these, and then about halfway through is when I really get into it. So same experience with The Strength of the Few as I had with The Will of the Many. I started off really slow, kind of just trudging along, kind of trying to figure things out, and then about halfway through it just something clicks, and then boom, off to the races, and then I fly through it. So really enjoyed The Strength of the Few. Can't wait to see where this goes. Next is one book that has been on my list for a while. It's Bloody Rose, and I love whatever Nicholas Eames is doing with this universe. I know it's been a while since this has been published. I thought this was going to be a trilogy. I think there might be plenty. I hope there is, because Kings of the Wild is one of my absolute favorite books that I've read in the last few years, and Bloody Rose I thought was a really good way of continuing this universe without worrying about, well, what can they do with these guys now? Because Kings of the Wild, you've got the original band, and they're kind of getting the band back together, these characters, so they're not has-beens, but they've done the story was in the past, and this new story comes in and it kind of wraps things up. I mean, there's even in Kings of the Wild a portion that explains what might happen to these characters. So picking up with Rose, who is the daughter of one of the characters, and there's some other characters that are introduced in the other book and new characters in this book. Like, picking up with this, I thought was a really good way of continuing with that universe without trying to one-up Kings of the Wild. And it really doesn't try to, like, it kind of starts off with like, oh, there's this horde coming, and Bloody Rose, like Rose is just like, nah, I got this contract, I'm sticking to that. I've already fought in one of these big things, I don't need to prove myself. Like, it's really great that that's kind of like the intention of, yeah, there's this massive horde coming, but we did that in book one. This is a different story. And in universe, it's so fun watching people want to like confront Rose and her band about this, but they really, like, they don't want to, because she did do all the things. Like, she is got a reputation, and so I really love this book. I hope what I've heard about there being a third one is true, because I want this to continue. Kings of the Wild was one of my favorite in the last few years. This is high up there as well. I love the way this developed, and all the characters are really interesting. How the magic work is interesting, and so I really enjoyed this. As far as like, it was fun with the way the Kings of the Wild was, and I want more. The next book I read was by Robert Irwin, Wonders Will Never Cease, and this is a fantasy book, but it's like historical fiction because it's revolving around the War of the Roses and the Woodvilles, and you've got, it's just such a cool book for me. I took my time reading it. I read, like, it took me a long time to read this, but I was reading it unintentionally looking for like cameos. You know, like you watch a superhero movie and you see like little bits and pieces, like cameos and Easter eggs. I was doing that with this because I love history, and so every time Thomas Mallory showed up in this, I was just soaking it all in, just analyzing everything, and it was so cool, you know, from an Arthurian standpoint, just seeing all that stuff, like this medieval literature. Like I could definitely see and feel the presence of the medieval and medieval literature in this story with these characters, and it just was a really, really fun book with magic, but not. Like it was. I don't really know how to describe it besides, like, yes, Anthony Woodville, he fights as a knight, and he's got this magical story going on, but he also doesn't. It's a really wacky tale. It's really fun from someone who appreciates medieval history, Arthurian literature, and like if you're interested in that stuff, this would be a fun book to just take your time and just read it and do what I did, because I felt like I was taking too long reading it. But I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought the characters were interesting, the historical stuff was interesting, the presence of, Arthurian and medieval literature and legends and stuff was really cool. So really enjoyed this book, and glad that I got this as a gift. So Wonders Will Never Cease. Awesome read. Now, my last one was one that, because I was taking so long with Wonders Will Never Cease, I wanted to also do something a little whimsical. And so I'd always heard that Tress of the Emerald Sea was kind of a whimsical, fun story, and I didn't have anything I was listening to on my audiobook wise because of that, reading Wonders Will Never Cease. So I mostly listened to Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, and I flew through the audiobook in just a couple workout sessions, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed the character of Tress and the other characters, and they were high stakes, but it really wasn't that serious of a story compared to Wonders Will Never Cease or Bloody Rose or Strength of the Few. Compared to these other books I've been reading, this was a really nice palate cleanser for something that felt very lighthearted, even though there were some high stakes. I really enjoyed it. I loved the audiobook, and this was a really fun, whimsical story with some interesting magic and just all around good time. It was a good time. So these are the books that I have read recently, and I would love to hear what you think about, any of these books, because I feel like I've been taking my time reading these, but at the same time, I've had some stuff going on with life, work, just, all around life stuff happening. It's been pretty busy spring for me. So the fact that I've managed to read 4 really good books while doing other things, I do teach, so there's been some testing and some other stuff, and it's T-ball season. There's just all sorts of stuff going on. So I feel like the fact that I've read 4 solid books within the last 2 months, pretty good. I'm also reading some comics, so if you want to see what comic type stuff, since you can see back here that I'm reading, you can check out Girl Quest Comics. That's my other channel. But this is for books, and these are 4 solid books I really enjoyed for different reasons. And I would love to hear what you think about these 4, or, did you like them, you didn't like them, or you got some recommendations for similar stuff. I am planning on getting back into some Sanderson. Obviously, I'm going to continue with the Hierarchy. If there's anything that's similar to Bloody Rose and Kings of the Wild, I would love to know. Love to know what you think about Wonders Will Never Cease. Is there something similar that I can get into? Because I am enjoying, keeping my eye on the Arthurian-related literature, like The Bright Sword. That's a recent book that I've reread a few times. That's very much heavy on the Arthurian stuff. If you're interested in an Arthurian book, check out my video on The Bright Sword. But yeah, what do you think about these 4? I would love to hear any comments, suggestions about what I've been reading. Anything, really. I've been kind of reading slow, so I'm always looking for something new. I've got a few lined up, but I've been mostly playing catch-up on comics while I'm dealing with life because it's easier. So if you've got anything good, let me know. I'm currently reading the Bloodsworn Saga. I'm continuing that. I'm looking at what I'm going to read next. Kind of leaning on a Western, if I'm being honest. I got a Louis L'Amour book for Christmas. It's really short. I might do that really quick too, somewhere in there. But let me know what you think. I'll keep you updated on what I'm reading, what I'm enjoying, and I would love to hear what you think, what you enjoy in the comments.